Hey, what up guys? So we're back with another Star Citizen video. If you're new channel, welcome. We're going to be checking out another vehicle and another architect reviews video by Morphologis. So shout out and credit goes to Morphologis for the video. And this one is called An Architect Reviews the RSI Phoenix Star Citizen. So far, in my opinion, RSI is one of my favorite companies so far. The RSI Polaris. I actually saw a few ship commercials, you know, the Constellation Taurus. I hope I said that correctly. And also the RSI Scorpius. Basically, some of those ships are amazing designs and I really like them. So when it said RSI on it, I was really hyped up and anticipating what Morphologis has to say about this particular vehicle. So without anything else, let's just jump right into it. Oh, that's a cool looking ship. I guess when it comes to big ships, that is the signature design on the back, because you know, the four wings or engines, you know, the two on top and two at the bottom. The RSI Polaris has it. The RSI Scorpius in a way kind of has it, but it kind of looks like an X-wing. This one also has it. The Taurus also has it. So I guess that is like kind of the patent design RSI corporation has.
This time, on An Architect Reviews, I once again return to the shifting sands of Daymar to examine a beautiful luxury ship, the RSI Constellation Phoenix. In this video, I will take you on a tour of this new RSI ship, utilizing my skill set as an architect to both examine the successes and shortcomings of the design in the hopes of providing some constructive feedback to assist the designers in future reworks and future designs. It's also a great opportunity for me to tell you guys a little bit more about what architecture really is. So without any further introduction, let's get started. Beginning here on the bridge, you'll notice that it's quite familiar, and that's because it's identical to the bridges of the Aquila and
Oh, never mind. I thought something happened in the background, my bad.
Andromeda. The only differences that I can see is perhaps a slight change in paint color, though I may be wrong here. It seems there's a lot more whites in this version, which I think would be quite fitting. For that reason, I won't be spending very much time back here, devoting most of my time in this video to analyzing the midsection, which is the new part of the ship. Though it's good to take a look at it before we go back there to start to lay the groundwork for understanding the design language that's already been set forward by RSI. Angular, utilitarian, and pretty basic. A kind of design language that doesn't easily lend itself to luxury, so I'm sure that this was a bit of a challenge for the designers to translate into something that seemed coherent. But we'll have to see.
So far, the design looks pretty, as you said, similar. Whoa! Now that's a cool design right above the RSI logo, the Phoenix. That is pretty cool.
Transitioning through the crew space and into the luxury cabin presents a stark contrast. The design language here appears to be very successfully translated from utilitarian to luxury. The walls are white, unadorned, but still angular, and the floors are finished instead in wood rather than steel. Which is why it pains me to begin this critique with a negative comment. No matter how well lit, how well adorned, and how exquisitely detailed a space can be, it can always be overpowered by unresolved procession. And in architecture, this is just a fancy word we like to use to describe the way we imagine the user proceeding through a series of spaces that we've designed in a very intentional way. And unfortunately, this, and not the previous entry, is the actual first experience of the user, which is unfortunate because this entry does make quite an impact, and if I were to make a revision on this project, I would highly suggest that the ingress point be rather here at this logo and not below and through the crew section. This is, I think, very important for, say, a luxury vessel.
Interesting.
But now I think it's time to continue our tour of the Constellation Phoenix into...
Well, I mean, before we go any further, this is one thing I just want to say. When we look at RSI like ships, particularly the Polaris, you see like it's mostly just concrete and steel and not much color. You know, it was just one color. Mostly it was blue and dark colors here and there. Basically, it's showing has more military capabilities and purposes rather than just showing off a luxurious details like this. Because I'm like the white already. As soon as I saw the white, I was like, oh, okay, it's already different. And then when I saw the wood walls and the white wall. Wood walls, the wooden floor. I don't know why I said wood walls. The wooden floor and the white walls and the logo just like that. It already gives a huge different like setting and vibe compared to the Polaris. The Polaris was mostly military, but this one he's saying is more luxurious. So I'm really interested in seeing like the differences here and there. But the one that Morphologis just pointed out, the negative criticism, I'm gonna have to like look that over once again because he used some terms that I'm trying to go, what? But anyways, let's just go on. But looks like he's gonna move into the cabin, and so far the bed right there, and looks like there's an aquarium.
To the first bedroom here on the right. Notice the material change on the floor from wood to carpet. This is a very good use of material, as carpet can help absorb sound and make a small space feel a lot more comfortable. It helps to reduce the acoustic problem with small spaces that create...
Sorry again. That is true, because right now on the floor right here is carpet, but it's not the whole room. If you guys go near the entrance of our room over there, I have to go around. Basically, it's hard marble. That's near the entrance of our room, including the bathroom. Everything is marble. But once you get to where our beds are and the chairs are, it's all covered by carpet, so it gives a little bit more comfort. So I really do agree with that. Having carpet can make a huge difference, and you guys would agree with that. Having carpet on the ground or just a hard wooden floor or hard marble floor, it can make the biggest difference in comfort.
Weird echoes, kind of like, a bathroom. Though what I'm starting to see here in the design is a really successful translation of the
it looks like there's a monitor
language of RSI into something more luxurious.
Yeah, right there. That's cool.
The edges are no longer sharp, but are instead rounded, giving it a much softer and cloud-like quality. However, I feel like the lighting could still use a little bit more development in the residential spaces, as there's no reading lamp, you'll notice, for the bed. And while you might not actually be reading books in this day and era, it is nice to have a personal light in the space that, doesn't flood the entire space homogeneously like the ceiling light.
Yeah, there's no
also,
shelves
sure
or closet or anything like that. If you can afford
this ship, you can afford to keep buying new ones as they die. The second guest bedroom is very much the same, although a bit more angular and perhaps a slight bit smaller. It also has a fish death trap, and likewise could use a reading lamp. But now we move on to why people buy the Constellation Phoenix. Its showpiece, the Grand Room.
Oh, let's take a look. Wow, that looks really luxurious.
From the very compressed space of the forward cabin, it's very unusual and perhaps even a little shocking to see such a large space in the midsection. I think that this effect was very well done. I very much also like the very intimate and well human-scaled seating area. The lighting is very appropriate, the lower ceiling makes
looks like a first-class seat on an airplane.
And the change in floor material is also very much welcomed. What's also wonderfully successful about this space is the understanding of the importance of lighting and how that can play a role in the luxurious feeling of a space. I must really compliment the designer here in the way that they understood that space can really be defined by light. Here the floors are lit up in a very bright white so that we can clearly see where we're going but have a little glare. Whereas here in the intimate speaking and sitting space, we have blue, very cool lights, which here give a much more relaxed feeling to the space. Some of you Star Trek fans might also be getting some 10 Forward vibes from the Enterprise.
I'm guessing that mist is like those air purifiers. I mean, I've seen those machines, but I really want to get one. But however, I don't know if I should get one now or like wait until I transfer to my permanent duty station. But anyways, that is one item I really do want to get.
D. That would be TNG for you non-Trekkies. It's very much in that vein.
Yeah,
and
I'm not familiar with Star Trek, guys, so...
I loved the lighting and feeling of that ship. Really what a fantastic place to sit down and watch the clouds, planets, and stars roll by. It also definitely is giving off vibes of luxury private jet rather than, say, luxury private yacht. And I very much suspect that that's why I feel that this space is so much better conceived than the 600i. You see, on small vehicles like a private jet, space is at a premium, so you need to make the most of what you have. This ship makes a small space feel big and comfortable through the use of changes in ceiling height, lighting to make contrast of different spaces, subtle threshold and material changes. It's very successful in that way, and I really wish that the 600i designer would have took note of this sort of design. I hope in the future that they're going to better utilize that interior space, because this is a true example of how you can make a small space still feel very comfortable. Just imagine how much more useful space we could have on the 600i considering its mass, its size, as compared to a ship like this. Moving into the center atrium here, I really appreciate that this bar is at the end. It really gives it a feeling of being the heart of the gathering place of the ship. And I very much appreciate how the skylight here extends the space vertically, making it feel much more grand and large than it actually is. Unfortunately though, we kind of see a little bit of a breakdown of RSI's aversion to right angles with this very strangely shaped corner. The only thing you can really do with this space is place say, a decorative stand, which I think is fine, but it kind of leaves that space maybe feeling a little bit awkward. Across from the awkward corner, we find ourselves either a meeting or dining table, however you wish to perceive it. In either case, it seems like a great place to have a dinner party, entertain guests, entertain business partners, or even a love interest. All while watching a beautiful landscape roll by through this beautiful panoramic window. But now we move on.
So those are two things I noticed, like really long windows that give really great views. The bar is great. And literally there's aquariums everywhere in the bedrooms right there. For me personally, if I had something like this, I wouldn't do aquariums. I'm not a big fan of them. I would rather display something else. I don't know what to display, but I would display maybe, or use that space for something else instead. That's just me personally.
Onto a point of the ship I'm not particularly a fan of, but some of you I'm sure will like, and that would be the jacuzzi. You know, the thing that you buy for a ton of money, use once, and then forget about for years? Yeah. Well, since it's sort of like a subjective thing, I'm going to focus more here on some of the more design issues that I have a problem with, like how there's these component doors directly adjacent to a tub full of water. Well, this may not only be an electrical
safety
hazard,
reason for that.
It's also quite confusing for guests. Pressing these buttons, initially, I didn't realize that these were component hatches. I think that a user might confuse them, say, for like a refrigerator, a television, or a drink stand or something. To me, there really doesn't seem to be a reason for it to be there when there's a perfectly open spot here near the RSI door in the engineering section. You could have easily put a door below this side and the right side here and kind of tuck them all into one area, perhaps putting it against or behind another door to conceal the more mechanical parts of the ship from the more luxurious area. Also, about the engineering door, it's really distracting and doesn't fit with the established luxurious design language of this section of the RSI ship. You know, it's just these small details that really would bring it up to a really polished state. I feel that it's still a little bit rough around the edges, but overall, it's a lot more successful than the 600i by a very large margin. I feel much more comfortable in the Phoenix than I do in the Origin, and that's really unfortunate.
That's
the
master
bedroom is a bit of a mixed bag. I really like the panoramic window behind the master bed, but I find the lack of shading to be somewhat concerning. It doesn't provide any sort of protection against glare from the sun or provide privacy from outside viewers. The ceiling is also a little bit impersonal.
That could be an issue.
I would have preferred them to use a little bit different language here in the master bed than the exact same languages out in the large space. The one-way window also makes me feel a little bit uncomfortable, and this is something I've heard from a lot of people who've used the Phoenix. I think it's an accurate assessment, and they should probably change it. Also, I'm pointing to kind of a lack of integrated shelving here, because I feel like there really should have been something where you could put down your Mobi-Glass or your glasses, because that little thing on the side of the bed really is insufficient. But again, I think overall the room is very comfortable. With these minor polish changes, I think it could be great. Getting rid of that weird window where you feel like people could be looking in on you could be a good improvement. And the lack of interior decoration is fine, because we know we're going to be able to personalize our space in future.
So lack of privacy.
Fine. But now it's time to move on to a rather interesting feature of the Phoenix, and it's...
So this is so far the one thing I see in the master bedroom and the other two bedrooms. There's no like shelves or anything where you could put your personal stuff. And so far I haven't seen a closet area. Maybe there's a button and it'll come out of the walls, who knows? But I haven't seen anything like that. And I don't know if that is just something I don't see. Maybe it, like I said, it is hitting the walls. You have to press a button and it comes out, or maybe that's something that's not there at all. But having things like that is very important. You know, where to hang your clothes, or if you have books or anything like that, you would like to put it on shelves or tables rather than just having it on the floor. So that, I say, is a huge flaw in my opinion.
Something that I have a bit of an issue with, despite its maybe Millennium Falcon coolness.
Finally.
Well, the entrance to the cargo bay is quite clever and actually quite cool. And although the space inside is very large, larger than the Aquila or the Andromeda, it is unfortunate that we have to go through the luxurious program to get here. This is the only entrance to this space, so if crew needs to access any of these high voltage panels,
entrance?
They're going to have to walk straight across the view of the VIP guests. This circulation error is something that was also present in the 600i, and it's really unfortunate that it's popped up here as well. What I would have suggested instead is to add an entry from the forward cabin that goes through the cargo area and exits through the rear engineering section. This important feature would prevent them from alerting guests to the fact that there may be an issue, perhaps, with some of the mechanicals on the ship. Also,
that is
help
a big,
them do maintenance
big
without
flaw.
having to track grease or tools through a very clean space, disrupting the party of the highly esteemed guests. So if they were to change something about this ship's layout, that would be another big one for me aside from the entrance. But now it's time to move on to what I think is the least successfully designed feature of the Constellation Phoenix.
And that would be, he's going towards the bar.
Now, earlier I said that I like the idea that there's a hearth here, the bar, and I stand by that. I really like that there's a bar here, but there are some details about this bar that really bother me. This television, for example, seems to have been added after the fact. It's like escaping the frame. It doesn't fit in, and it's kind of on like an angular wall. It feels very awkward and last minute, whereas the one on the right there seems to have a place to live in that black zone. Also, probably the most egregious detail here is the way that the designer tried to blend the granite into the wood. It's like they couldn't decide whether or not they wanted granite below the stools or wood. I've honestly never seen something this strange before, and when I first saw it, I thought it was a mistake. I thought...
I'm no expert, but yeah. I mean, looks like they were just putting granite over the wood, and then they just like stopped halfway or something.
They accidentally put a texture on top of it. But if you look closely, no, it's actually supposed to be there. It's actually following some of the grooves.
It's not symmetrical either.
Honestly, I would just get rid of it. Speaking of the granite, it's not very good looking. It's very builder grade. I mean, in granite or stone working, we have tiers, like 3 of them. 3 being the most expensive and exotic, 1 being the most builder, cheapest grade you can get. And to me, this is very much a grade 1 when this ship really should have grade 3. Maybe like a Calcutta gold. That's like a white marble from Italy with gold flakes in the veining. That would have been much more fitting. This back wall here.
When he's talking about the white marble with gold flaking or whatever word he said, I'm sorry. I'm guessing he's talking about the same white marble that was used in the 890 jump yacht, because I remember seeing it on the ground when we were entering the yacht. And yeah, that white marble really did look expensive, especially with the gold. So if we put that on the countertop, yeah, it would make a huge difference in luxurious. like a luxurious view, and also just the design of the bar itself.
Here,
and if we put that on the ground too, it will make a difference.
where you display bottles is also far too busy. There's a new material introduction here. It looks like slate, and there's two different material patterns. That coupled with the increase in angles, the increase of geometry, the weird tier 1 granite, and then the circular arch over the logo all create this really distracting effect that really doesn't need to be there. To quote an architect legend, Mies van der Rohe said, "Less is more," and in this case, I definitely agree. But really, overall, this and the entrance are the weakest points of the ship. I could live with the cargo section being the way it is, but the bar being so visual as it is now and the entrance being so unfortunate and disappointing as it is really could use a change if they're ever going to slightly rework this design, though I imagine they probably won't. But say they do ships in the future, maybe they can use this information to apply it to future luxury ships.
Interesting.
In conclusion, with the exception of the entry in the bar, I find this design to be wildly more successful than the 600i. And would I have to choose between the two, I would choose this ship hands down. Once again, the issue resides mostly in the way the spaces are organized, something that I think that CIG could benefit from paying more attention to. It is a beautiful ship, and so it's a shame that the way the spaces are arranged should counterbalance the success of the interior design language so much. It really does a whole lot more with less. The exterior, like in the other versions I reviewed, is also quite beautiful despite the fact that it's been lengthened and widened. And although it might come off as a bit cliche, I'm a big fan of the white and black color scheme. I find it simplistic, clean, and beautiful. But maybe you guys disagree. I want to know down in the comments section below. Let me know what your thoughts are on the Connie Phoenix. Also let me know what you guys would like me to review next. I really love doing these reviews, and the feedback that I've gotten has been phenomenal. If you guys are looking to get into Star Citizen, make sure you also use my referral code down in the description below. It gives you 5,000 starting UEC and helps me get more ships to make more great content like this. Also, if you guys are looking for a great community of players to get into the game with, make sure you check out Armco, a community I founded with 2 other YouTubers. It's also a great place to get involved with me in future videos and ask questions in person. So anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope to see you guys next time.
Okay guys, so that was the RSI Phoenix, and overall great ship, but it was not what I was expecting. I was actually expecting a combat effective ship, not a luxurious ship, so this one really threw me off. First and foremost, I really like the logo design. It looks amazing, but however, I say the most common flaw that Morphologis also pointed out was layouts. Basically how things were designed, the smallest details, like mechanical components exposed next to the jacuzzi. And for me personally, like I said, the rooms where it had no shelves and no closet space, and also the entrance to that lower cargo bay is like right in the center of all that luxurious area. And I don't know anything about bars, so I can't really critique on that. But besides that, it looks like this is an amazing ship. Personally, if I played this game, I would also have this ship as well. But if I had this in real life, it's a little... I would have the ship if all those things were fixed. But what do you guys think? Would you guys have the ship, or do you guys even have the ship in Star Citizen if you're playing? Please let me know in the comments below. But overall, really great video, and Morphologis did a great job critiquing it. And I really enjoy his videos as always. So shout out and credit goes to Morphologis as usual. And that's all I got today. So thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you guys for watching. Hit that notification bell so you know when I drop another video. And also shout out to all my members, subscribers, viewers. You guys are amazing. You guys are the reason why the channel keeps on going. So thank you so much for your support, guys. I really do appreciate it. So without anything else, I'll see you guys next time.